everybody. It's Kelly Russell, the Rock Your Joy Coach. Thank you so much for being with me today and welcome to my channel. So, my topic for this week is who are God's teachers and who are their pupils from the Manual for Teachers in A Course in Miracles. And, what the Course says about this is that a teacher of God is anyone who makes a decision to be one. And it also says that there are thousands of courses in the universal curriculum, of which A Course in Miracles is only one. And that which means that there are thousands of paths to our enlightenment, and that the universal curriculum, all the central teaching of all forms of it, is one thing. And that is, the theme is always God's Son is guiltless, and in his innocence is his salvation. So that's basically, no matter what form of the universal curriculum anybody's teaching, that's the teaching. And so, as a teacher of A Course in Miracles, this is obviously the form that I'm teaching, having made the decision to be a teacher of God, but I am one of bazillions of teachers, and you don't have to make a decision to be a spiritual teacher in order to be a teacher of God. You could be teaching people in your relationships that you're in. You could be teaching people in your partnerships. You could be teaching people that you're involved with professionally, that you work with. It doesn't matter. It's all done on the level of the mind also. And sometimes it may, we use our bodies for communication. That's the only, as A Course in Miracles teaches, the only right perception of the body is as a communication device and a learning tool. And so if we put those together and say, yeah, we're using the body to speak through, we use our voices, we use our five senses, because in this world, that's kind of like the way we roll. We haven't really mastered communicating mind to mind yet in terms of actually believing in it, even though it's happening all the time because all minds are joined. And so using our bodies to communicate love, right? I mean, we can communicate a lot of other stuff too, but only love is what we're really here to learn. And so, in part one, it talks about who are God's teachers. And in part two, it talks about, so who are their students? And their students, as soon as you make the decision in your mind to be a teacher of God, your students will show up. And again, they may show up as, like I have, as in sort of in the professional sense, as coaching clients or psychotherapy clients. But in reality, it's whoever. It's my boyfriend, my friends, my sister, my nieces and nephews, the dude at the grocery store, my dance partner, people out in the world. Whoever I come across is who Spirit is bringing to me. And as the Course in Miracles also says, the teacher in the situation, like i.e. me, isn't really the teacher. The teacher is Spirit. And what there is to be taught is that giving and receiving are the same. And so really, anyone in this world, identified as a teacher of God or not, is just being a vessel for Spirit to teach through, and is actually a learner. And that's one of the things that A Course in Miracles teaches, is that teaching and learning, everyone is the teacher and everyone is the student, just like everyone is the therapist and everyone is the patient. And that it's Spirit that is doing the actual teaching, and it's Spirit that's doing the actual therapy, and it's Spirit that's doing the actual healing, lest any of us get arrogant about our role as teacher or therapist or whatever. And so if you make a decision that you are a teacher of God, then you are a teacher of God, and your students will show up and you will be taught right alongside of them. And the purpose for that is to form a holy relationship in which spirit can enter in and change our minds and heal our perceptions so that we are awakened to the reality of the truth instead of being in this ego reality, this fake reality of the world. So, my most recent teacher was yesterday. And the thing about teaching and teachers and students and all of that is that, again, it's often done on the level, it's always done on the level of the mind. Sometimes it appears to also be among bodies in the world, but in this instance, it didn't, because the teacher in my life didn't know that she was my teacher. And she probably wouldn't have felt like she was my teacher, had I tried to tell her that, because I got a letter yesterday. I'm in a situation where I'm negotiating something with the IRS for a lot of money, and I got a letter in the mail yesterday, and this woman has gone back and forth between myself and my tax attorney and me, and I know that she's only a reflection of what is in my own mind. What is in my own mind, the unconscious guilt that I harbor about myself, that is in all of our minds. We believe we separated from God. We have this unconscious guilt in our minds, and it causes us to create these situations in the world, these imaginary situations in the world where we punish ourselves, and then we can project our unconscious guilt onto those situations and people and say it's their fault and not mine. We can feel like innocent victims. And so I basically got a letter saying that they had denied what I was asking for, what I was trying to negotiate. And I just, with my own self, I didn't call or anything like that, but you don't have to. Like, the idea that you call somebody up and tell them what you think and go off on a rant and tell them where the dog died and trash talk them and get all pissed off at them and all of that. The idea that as long as we don't do that with our bodies, and as long as we don't say those words, and as long as they don't come out our mouth, that they're actually not being communicated, is complete and total wishful, fabricated bullshit. If I'm thinking it, they're feeling it. End of story. All minds are joined. So if I'm thinking attack thoughts, they're being delivered. The poison arrows are hitting their mark. And the only thing that I can do to make that not happen is not let it come out my mouth. It's let it not come out my mind. It's changing my mind at the place and doing the intervention before I send those thoughts out. But also, A Course in Miracles gives us an opportunity to neutralize them with the practice of forgiveness. And so I just went off on a mental rant at this woman. In my mind, oh my God, I called her every name in the book. I surprised myself actually with some of the creativity of the stuff that I called her and thought of her and said about her. And it was just like a big old car rant while I was driving. And then eventually I kind of, got to the place, because of course my Course in Miracles musculature is developed to the point where I can't do something like that and then just forget about it and deny it and wall it off in my consciousness. No, it's going to be right there with me. And it was. And of course, the next thing that happens that kicks in is the guilt, because that's what happens with the ego mind. Is the ego mind directs us to, like, have all this vitriol and basically to sort of, barf it all over like whoever, and then it boomerangs back toward us, and there's no way that we can stop that, because we are all one. And so anything that we do to or say to or think about another person, we are then going to experience the effects of ourselves. And that's what happened. And I felt really guilty and really shitty and really terrible that I did all that stuff and said all that stuff and thought all those things. But I did practice A Course in Miracles tool that it gives us to neutralize those guilt projections and bring us back to a place of sanity. I practiced the forgiveness process. It looked like I was forgiving her, because that's what it looks like, because we have to have a face to put on the forgiveness process. So it looked like I was forgiving her, but of course that that next line of I'm forgiving you is because there's nothing to forgive. So I was forgiving her not for anything that she had done, and PS, she was only doing her job. And it and I was forgiving her for, I was forgiving myself for buying into the illusion that this world is even real, that there is even such a thing in this world as taxes and negotiation and money and the IRS and agents and all of people and bodies and all of it. And then I asked Spirit to help me see it differently, and I released it to Spirit to be healed, which is just as what the process is. And in doing that, I know that I'm in a holy relationship with what I perceive to be a separate person, separate from me in a body. This person at the IRS that I don't even know. But she's not. She's just a projection of my own mind in which I see the reflection of what's in it, like a mirror back at me. And so when I had that first project, and what I saw was ugly, and something to be vilified, and all the other stuff that how I perceived it. When I shifted that perception by doing the forgiveness process, what I saw was innocence, and was able to see she's just reflecting back to me what I think. So if I'm projecting love, then that's what I'm going to feel projected back at me. I don't know what's going to happen with this situation. I don't know what's supposed to happen. So it's arrogant of me to think that it was supposed to turn out in any certain way, because I don't know. We don't know. What I do know is that Spirit knows how this whole thing is supposed to shake out, and I'm supposed to be following Spirit's guidance. And Spirit's guidance is to see everybody as innocent. Don't judge. When you find yourself judging, practice the forgiveness process so that you can undo that more of that unconscious guilt that's causing you to project, and so that you don't have to then experience the painful consequences of your own projections. Because if we don't practice that forgiveness and we leave ourselves in that place of attack, then those poison arrows are just going to come back and stab us in the eye. So that's the reason to practice it, and it's a reason to join with your brother, to see your brother as innocent, and to see nothing in this world as reality. And in doing that, you can actually shift to what really is reality, and see the love in any situation. And so I do feel like I was returned to sanity. It didn't take that long. It was maybe like, a couple hours where I had to suffer, because I made myself suffer before I could get back to a place of peace. So that's my message for today. And if you click on the link below, you can read the post that goes along with it. And also there's a subscribe button on the screen. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. I'm here every week teaching about the practical application of A Course in Miracles. And if you would like more, a little bit more on this kind of a subject, and hearing more about how you can be happy no matter what, there is a free 2-hour workshop that is on my website, that's got a link to it below as well. You can click on that and go watch that. And it is From Blocking Joy to Rocking Joy, How to Be Happy No Matter What. And there's other free stuff on my website too, if you've already seen it. So be sure to check that out, and the other YouTube videos here on the channel. I'll see you next week. I love you.